Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. A video that I've been excited to do for a while, and that's my favorite movies of a year. And that year being 2018. Yeah, the year that was like 20 days ago or something like that. But anyway, the year that ended 20 days ago. I don't know what I'm doing. And anyway, I've got 21 movies on the list that I'm going to talk about and recommend. But I've also got a couple honorable mentions, and those include Sicario 2, which is right there, Green Book, Vice, which was really pretty good, just had a couple issues, Game Night, which really surprised me, Upgrade, which also really surprised me, Black Klansman was really good, Bohemian Rhapsody, which I have the soundtrack for right there, and A Star is Born. Those were all really pretty good movies. For one reason or another, they just did not hit me like these other movies, like these next 21 we're going to talk about do. And I also want to mention this movie right here, Solo. Solo was nowhere near making the top 21, but it was way better than I was expecting it to be. I heard so many bad things about it, and it wasn't great, it wasn't perfect, I just enjoyed it way more than I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, Solo. Pretty decent. And anyway, this is going to be just unedited, unscripted. I mean, of course I have the list right here of what the movies are going to be, but just me talking about what I think were the must-see movies of 2018. And starting off that list at 21 is Mary Poppins Returns. Now, Mary Poppins Returns may have had a couple tonal issues, and the length may not have been necessarily justified in a couple scenes, the runtime I mean, but just the overall joy of watching this movie is just worth it. It's just such a pure and just like, I don't know, it's just such a joyful movie to watch. The music's great, acting is great, Emily Blunt does a really good job as Mary Poppins, and I don't know, it was just a really fun movie. It felt like a good Disney movie, because for those of you who don't know, Disney is not like my favorite thing in the world right now. They've made a lot of missteps. They're kind of, I don't know, I just don't like the way they monopolize everything, the way they have to make sequels to like everything. But yeah, it felt like a really good Disney movie. I was so excited to see it again, and that's why it's at 21. And number 20 is a Joaquin Phoenix movie, which he's a fantastic actor, and that's Lynn Ramsey's You Were Never Really Here. Now, this movie was just so raw and powerful in its presentation that I was just overtaken with it. Some of the acting may have been a little bit from certain other characters, but it's just such an interesting character study, and the twists and turns the story takes are just extremely enthralling, and that's why You Were Never Really Here is at number 20, and I would definitely recommend seeing it. And number 19 is going to be A Quiet Place, another movie with Emily Blunt. And A Quiet Place may not have been perfect. It's not the best horror movie of the year. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But it's just such a tense, enjoyable, like, little film that I've seen it 2 times already. I own it. It's just really, like, such an enjoyable movie, and acting's strong, and child acting is great. Emily Blunt, of course, is good. John Krasinski does such a good job directing. Music is great, and I like how it's just so quiet. It's just very it's just very different from every other horror movie anyway, that's come out recently, and I really appreciated it, and I found it really enjoyable and a really nice movie to watch. Number 18 is Searching. And Searching had some of the best, like, opening 15 minutes that I've seen in a movie all year. John Cho, of course, did a great job. Acting was pretty good all the way through. Story may have been slightly predictable, and there were a couple of plot points that I didn't like that I'm not going to talk about to spoil the movie, but all in all, I was really enthralled by this movie. I was really invested in it, and I felt like the way the characters were developed was really good, and some of the twists were actually pretty shocking, and I just like the way that everything kind of comes together over this virtual computer screen thing. And yeah, Searching, it's a good like thriller, in the same vein that A Quiet Place was good, and a very unique thriller that I just enjoyed watching, and I really think people would really enjoy watching the movie. That's why I'm recommending it. Then we got 17, Lean on Pete, which was one of probably the best acted movies of the year. Charlie Plummer, the main star in this movie, does such a good job portraying a teenager. I think he might have been a teenager at the time that they made this movie, but his portrayal of a teenager, it's so realistic, and like the way his movements, the way that he acts, just the awkwardness that you can feel coming off of him, is so great. I don't want to talk too much about it because the story goes in so many different directions, and it's just interesting to watch this whole movie develop and watch these characters develop and little different things you find out about different characters along the way. So I'm not going to talk too much about it, but Lean on Pete. If you haven't seen it, I would highly, highly recommend it, especially if you like horses, and Steve Buscemi, who we're also going to talk about later on in this list. In number 16, we have the best Western of the year, and that's Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Now, anytime the Coen brothers come out with a movie, there's a pretty good chance it's going to end up being among my favorite movies of the year, because I just love their movies. I mean, Barton Fink, Fargo, The Big Lebowski, I can't believe I forgot it. I even like Intolerable Cruelty. But anyway, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs is written so well. I pretty much loved every little segment of the, because it's a whole bunch of different stories, and just the whole movie. It's like an anthology movie, and I like all the different stories, even the shorter ones. They're all so unique. There may have been a couple that were definitely more weak than others, but I wouldn't say that any were bad, and that's why I just love this movie. I found the characters, the themes that it tries to tackle, I found that all very, very well done. And it's really awesome about The Ballad of Buster Scruggs is that you get so into these short stories and these short characters, and these things aren't that long. Like, you feel like you understand these characters for the most part, but the segments aren't even that long. So yeah, Ballad of Buster Scruggs, it's on Netflix, so check it out if you get a chance. Then at 15 we have The Death of Stalin, which was probably my favorite comedy, pure comedy, of the year, and Steve Buscemi again was great in it. The movie was a little bit short, and it could have been more creative in a couple of points, which is why it's not higher on the list, but the story was just so interesting, and especially since it's rooted in so much fact, and I found it to be genuinely funny for the most part, so that's why Death of Stalin is at 15. Go check that one out. Then we've got, coming in at number 14, Avengers Infinity War. Probably the best Marvel movie for me. It's up there with Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1 and 2. But the visual effects were really good. The storyline went in so many awesome directions. And it's just such a different superhero, I almost said a different horror movie. It's such a different superhero movie than any of the other ones that have been coming out recently. And I was just seeing it in the theater, I was just so blown away by what they were able to pull off. And despite all the plot holes and everything, I really do think it's a very, very strong movie, and I really highly recommend seeing it. Number 13, we have Ethan Hawke in First Reformed, which was a very challenging movie. And it's not for everybody, it's very, very slow. But the way the story develops, and just the statements that it makes about religion and politics and all kinds of different things make the movie totally worthwhile. And I just love how it makes you think about all these different things, and then the way that it all comes together at the end is brilliant. And I really need to, First Reformed, like, I still need to watch it a couple more times, but I already love it, and I think I've seen it 2 times already, and First Reformed is just such a great movie that you really should not miss it if you can help it. Then at number 12 we have Thoroughbreds, which is Anton Yelchin's last movie, and what really got me about this movie was all with the acting. The acting was so top-notch in like every sense, and the storyline was so captivating. It's such an interesting movie, and the camera work was really great. I really loved it, and I like how the characters developed and just what they were all about, like, in the movie. And there were some genuinely funny parts too, and it's well acted, well written, like I said, well filmed, and it's just a really, really interesting movie to watch. It's like, I was reading some of the things for this, it says it's like American Psycho combined with Heathers and all kinds of stuff, and I definitely can see those comparisons. So if you like those kind of like dark comedies and like movies about like psychopaths and stuff, definitely give Thoroughbreds a shot. It's a very, very, very subversive and definitely worth a watch. Then at number 11 we have my favorite sci-fi of the year, which would be Annihilation. And yeah, all the acting's great. The movie might be a little bit inconsistent in a few parts, where before they go into the shimmer it's a little bit more slow, but after they enter the shimmer it really picks up. I really liked all the special effects. The soundtrack, the score and everything sounded so good in the movie. Acting was great, and I really love especially the last like 20 minutes of the movie, the direction that it takes and everything. It kind of blew me away, and I kind of love that movie. And I've seen it a couple times, and it's another one like First Reformed that has a lot to say, and I cannot wait to watch it again. Then at number 10, we have a surprising movie, and that's Bad Times at the El Royale. I was shocked by how much I loved this movie. Like, I didn't really hear anything about it. It kind of came and went in the theaters, and I managed to pick it up on DVD when it came out, and I was just so enthralled by this movie. Like, it's so long. Like, I think it's... I dropped the thing. It's like, it's over 2 hours long. Like, it's almost 2 hours and 30 minutes, and like, when you're watching it, it feels like it goes by like that. Like, it's just so captivating, so well acted, so well written, and just the way that the story turns, and it actually kind of gets you in the heart in a couple parts, which is surprising from a movie like that. Definitely inspired by Tarantino, and it's definitely reminiscent of The Hateful Eight, but I kind of like it better than The Hateful Eight. So yeah, number 10, starting off for number 10 was Bad Times at the El Royale. Then we have number 9, a shocking and surprising movie, which was Into the Spider-Verse, the new Spider-Man movie, the animated Spider-Man. I mean, it might be the best Spider-Man of all time. I haven't seen the Sam Raimi trilogy in a long time, and I've seen Homecoming a couple times, but honestly, Spider-Verse is definitely better than Homecoming. Might be not as good as Spider-Man 2 from the Raimi trilogy, or it might be better. I'm not sure. I need to rewatch it, like I said, but just, it's such a revolutionary and inventive movie that it's impossible to resist, and everybody needs to check it out. I don't, like, I feel like I could watch the movie once every week for like a year and not be bored by it, because it is just that good. I love everything about the movie. I was so glad I got to see it in the movie theater, and it just, it blew me away. I was knocked flat by Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Never thought I would say that about an animated movie. It probably is one of the best animated movies, too. And at number 8, we have, sorry to be so predictable, but at number 8, we have Bo Burnham's 8th Grade. And that movie, it really struck a chord with me. Like, I related to it in such a deep way. Because, like, we all remember being in 8th grade, and, like, watching the movie as stuff happens, you just want to go through the screen and, like, tell this girl, like, everything is going to be okay. There's going to be a tomorrow. There's going to be a day after that. There's going to be a next week and next month and next year. And it's just so amazing to me that a film can be that powerful and that it can get under your skin in that way. Because, I mean, looking back, it's not that big of a deal. And the stuff addressed in that movie, they're not that big of a deal. But the way that the film is made and just the acting from Elsie Fisher especially is just so powerful that it really gets under your skin, and it leaves you with that feeling for quite some time after you see it. And then at number 7, we have Blind Spotting, which is a very, very impressive movie. And the way that Blind Spotting handles issues of racism and stuff like that was completely shocking, and I just loved so much about the movie. It really gets under your skin like 8th grade, and it stays there. You want to talk about it, and not a lot of people saw it, which is surprising because it's really relevant, and the way that it handles issues is very fair, and at least I felt it was very fair. And the movie is so well written. Like, the conversations that the characters have in these two guys, it's like real conversations that people have had, and just the way scenes develop. I just like how some of the scenes, they start out in a way and then they end in a way that you do not see coming, but it's all so realistic, and I don't know, it's a very, very great film, actually. Then at number 6, we have probably the masterpiece of the year, which everybody's been talking about, and that's Alfonso Cuarón's Roma. And the editing in this movie was fantastic. The cinematography was fantastic. This is just, it might be Alfonso Cuarón's best movie. And the acting, again, is just fantastic in this movie. Everything feels so real and so natural and so believable. The child acting was really, really good. I just love the way that the camera moves around the house when they're in the house, and wherever they're going, the way that he kind of begins scenes and ends them with the camera. The dialogue was so good, even though I had to read it in subtitles. And just the way the story develops, and just some of the like the protest scene. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you should watch it and find out what I'm talking about. The way those films are seen, the way those scenes are filmed, sorry about that, are just so fantastic. The beach scene, amazing. The story really got to me, and I feel like the way that certain things are addressed throughout the movie is totally realistic and totally believable, and that is why I loved Roma. It is, again, the masterpiece of the year. Then we got the best horror movie of the year, which I was talking about earlier, at number 5, Hereditary, with some of the best acting of the year, if I don't do say so myself, in Toni Collette. And gosh, I watched it with one of my friends, and we were like screaming at the screen because some of the stuff that was happening in the movie. And this movie has gone totally under the radar, in my opinion. Like, not enough people are talking about it. Toni Collette should be getting tons of nominations for her work in there, because it is brilliant. And the way the story develops, what the movie is really trying to say, is also extremely interesting, extremely relevant. And I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to get into spoilers or get into the storyline, because not knowing anything about the movie is the way to go into it, because you see it and the way that it develops, and especially the ending, are brilliant, fantastic, and genius. So definitely check out Hereditary. It might not be for everybody, but at least give it a shot and see what you think. Then at number 4 is my favorite animation of the year, which is Isle of Dogs. Now, Wes Anderson is one of my favorite directors of all time, and the animation might not be as inventive as Into the Spider-Verse, which I said might be the best animation of all time, but the story of the movie, and again, the animation is so fantastic, and I just love this movie. Like, I just love everything about it, and I don't know what it is about it. It's just so charming and so pure that, and so Wes Anderson. It is so Wes Anderson that you gotta see it. And you might not love it, but at least give it a shot, because it's just so charming, and it's a very, very nice movie. There's not a lot of just nice movies, and I like how some of the scenes are done. Some people hate it, but you know what? I don't care. It comes in at number 4 on my list, so give Isle of Dogs a chance. Then at number 3 we have a documentary about Fred Rogers, and that is Won't You Be My Neighbor. This movie really got to me. I was talking about Fred Rogers for a while after I saw it. It made me go back and watch a couple clips from his old shows. Just seeing a man like that is just so amazing and nice. Just seeing a person who has all those qualities, whose goals were what his goals were, is very rare today. And I just loved seeing a movie that really celebrated him and appreciated what he did for our world and what he was trying to do. And at number 2, we have my favorite theater experience of the year, and that's Mission Impossible 6. The action scenes are great. Tom Cruise does such a good job with them. Every time the action moves so fluidly, the actors do such a good job. Everything that happens in the movie, I just loved seeing. I was just so surprised by how good it was. It's the 6th movie in a series. I mean, come on, how often does that happen? Fantastic, one of the best theater experiences I've ever had in my life, and so worth watching. Just such an enjoyable action movie. One of my favorite action movies, flat out right now, is Mission Impossible Fallout. And a storyline might be a little bit generic, and that's a complaint that I've heard a lot of people say, but it doesn't matter. The action is so well done, you just gotta see it. And then at number 1, we have a movie that might not be for everybody, but it's one to get you thinking, and it's one that just kind of got under my skin and stayed there for a while, and after I saw it, I just kind of walked outside and was just sitting there thinking about it for like 30 minutes after I saw it, and that is Yorgos Lanthimos' The Favorite. And The Favorite is so well acted, and so inventively filmed, and so well written, and the themes are just so relevant and just so relatable that I couldn't help but just love this movie. And like I said, it might not be for everybody. It's a tad bawdy. It's really out there. It's really different. His other movies, Killing of a Sacred Deer was one of my favorite movies of 2017. And The Lobster was another great movie, and Dogtooth. And I would say out of those, if you're looking for one that might be the most accessible, that's going to be The Lobster. It's definitely not the favorite. Like I said, the favorite is insane, but it's amazing. But anyway, guys, that wraps up my list of the best movies of 2018. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Let me know what your favorite movies are. Let me know where you disagree with my list. And as always, thanks for sticking around for this video. Thanks for going through this journey with me. And till next time, see ya.